feeling down, Yandan headed to the library to return some books. Lu Ming, seeing she was upset, tried to comfort her, but Yandan wasn't in the mood to talk.
She was in a hurry to get to the treasure pavilion to meet Yumo. Her plan was to sneak the immortal turtle out of the celestial realm by hiding it inside a treasure box. Yandan crept onto the roof of the treasure pavilion, but Yamu was nowhere to be seen. As time passed, she drifted off to sleep and had a nightmare that Ying Yuan had come to kill her. Startled awake, she lost her footing and tumbled off the roof, right in front of the night patrol. The celestial soldiers thought she was a thief, and Yandan had to quickly explain herself to get away. The plan to send the immortal turtle away would have to wait. Meanwhile, after much effort, Yumo finally managed to transform into his human form. He rushed to their meeting spot, but Yandan was already gone. Unaware of this, Yandan had wandered to the edge of the world.
There, she saw a heartbreaking sight. Ying Yuan, bound to the giant Kunlun tree, atoning for his sins.
Blinded and weak, Ying Yuan couldn't see her but sensed her presence and urged her to leave. Yandan lied, pretending to be a minor immortal servant from the hidden Dharma pavilion, hoping to find a way to save him. But Ying Yuan confessed that the fire poison had already reached his bone marrow. He was dying and intended to perish right there. Yandan refused to accept this, encouraging him to be strong and fight for his life. Trying to make small talk, Ying Yuan asked about the Jade Pool Feast and Yandan's famous performance.
Yandan, seizing the opportunity, vividly described the entire spectacle for him.
Yumo, unable to find Yandan, went to ask Lu Ming, but he had no idea where she was either.
Worried, Yumo searched and eventually found them at the edge of the world.
He saw Yandan, full of life, acting out her performance for Ying Yuan. A pang of jealousy hit him, and he silently turned and left. After finishing her performance, Yandan once again pleaded with Ying Yuan to free himself and return to the Yangtze Heavenly Palace. But Ying Yuan, unwilling to live in what he saw as disgrace, harshly forced her to leave. Over at Zhuangxin Cliff, the Dragon King of the East visited the two young dragons, Ao Sheng and Chao Lan. They were still in their true forms, not yet human. The Dragon King was pleased with their progress and taught Ao Xuan a special key-gathering technique to help them transform sooner, hoping to add another beautiful story to the dragon race's history. By the Lotus Pond, Yumo was drowning his sorrows in wine when he happened to witness this heartwarming scene. It stirred up old memories, leaving him with a mix of emotions. Yandan went to the temple to sincerely pray for Ying Yuan's recovery.
Yumo, still distraught, went to the library looking for her.
Lu Ming, seeing his state, immediately realized that Yumo had feelings for Yandan. Yumo admitted his one-sided love and made Lu Ming promise to keep it a secret. Just then, Yandan arrived, complaining that Yumo had stood her up. Yumo lied, claiming he'd lost track of time while learning a new cultivation technique from the Dragon King. Yandan didn't press the issue.
Yumo promised to find another chance to help with the immortal turtle, and Yandan had to let it go for now.
Later, Lu Ming scolded Yumo for not telling Yandan how he felt, but Yumo didn't want to burden her. He was content to just quietly stay by her side. Determined to help Ying Yuan, Yandan buried herself in ancient texts at the library. She discovered the grim truth. The fire poison was incurable.
But she refused to give up.
She went back to the edge of the world, bringing him some osmanthus cakes. Ying Yuan caught the faint scent of lotus on her and suspected her true identity, but he couldn't be sure. Yandan insisted on staying to care for him, but Ying Yuan said many cruel things to drive her away. Yandan didn't care and stayed put. Suddenly, the fire poison in his body flared up violently, throwing Yandan a great distance. The Buli bracelet on her wrist shattered into 3 pieces. Ying Yuan was in unbearable agony, on the verge of death. Without a second thought, Yandan poured all of her spiritual power into him to ease his pain, holding him tightly and vowing to stay with him, no matter what. Gradually, Ying Yuan calmed down. Yandan learned that the Dragon King was taking a batch of medicinal herbs back to the Dragon Palace. She and Yumo rushed to the Heavenly Physician's Hall. They hid the immortal turtle among the herbs. Just as the heavenly physician returned, hiding quickly, they overheard a crucial piece of information. The heart of a four-leaf lotus could cure fire poison. A wave of joy and determination washed over Yandan. She knew what she had to do. She would use her own heart to save Ying Yuan. She hurried back to the edge of the world, only to find that Ying Yuan had sealed himself off with a dust-severing technique. Unable to get close, Yandan started digging a tunnel to reach him. In the process, she accidentally unearthed a sealed Asura, Spirit the Soul-Slaying Sword Spirit. The spirit immediately attacked her. Seeing her in danger, Ying Yuan had no choice but to break his isolation and help. As he fought, the soul-slaying sword spirit ambushed Yandan. To protect her, Ying Yuan unleashed his powerful Asura ultimate technique. The sword spirit recognized the technique, realizing Ying Yuan was a descendant of the Asura clan. In a surprising turn, the spirit willingly offered its sword and submitted to him. Yandan was shocked to learn about Ying Yuan's heritage. At that moment, the leaves of the great Conlin tree began to wither and fall. Ying Yuan knew his time was running out. He urged Yandan to leave immediately, fearing she would be harmed when he died. But Yandan stood her ground, resolutely refusing to leave his side. She was ready to live or die with him. What will happen to them? Will Yandan's sacrifice be enough to save the man she loves? To remove the fire poison, Yandan had Ying Yuan soak in a tub of ice. His body quickly froze over, turning a deathly pale. Without a moment's hesitation, Yandan transferred her own precious lotus true energy into him. As the warmth spread, Ying Yuan slowly woke from his daze. Seeing her so close, he couldn't control himself and leaned in for a kiss. It was desperate, almost rough, and he accidentally bit her lip, drawing blood. Yandan blushed, a mix of embarrassment and concern, and simply hugged him tightly, holding on as if her life depended on it. After settling him back into bed, she surrounded him with hot water bottles, trying to chase away the bone-deep chill. She refused to leave his side, watching over him through the night. When Ying Yuan finally woke again, his vision was still gone. Afraid he'd be bored, Yandan decided to teach him how to write his own name. As he practiced, he reached out, his fingers gently tracing the contours of her face until he found her lips. They were chapped and sore. He carefully soothed the small wound, then presented her with a beautiful hairpin, one with a delicate flower pattern. He explained that it had healing properties. Yandan's heart swelled with warmth. In that moment, she made a silent, solemn vow. She would not let him die. She decided their little hideaway needed a name. She called it Go Don Ru, which sounds a bit grim, meaning residence of despair, and hung a little wooden sign by the door. It was a joke, but a painful one. Every single day, she endured the agony of plucking a petal from her own true form, the ancient lotus, to burn as incense. The fragrance helped to soothe his pain and suppress the fire poison. Under her meticulous, selfless care, Ying Yuan's health slowly began to improve. The terrifying flare-ups of the poison became less frequent. Ying Yuan couldn't stand seeing her live in this dark, damp corner of the earth any longer. Gathering what little magical power he had left, he performed a miracle. He managed to part the gloom and bring a shaft of sunlight into their grotto. But he didn't stop there. Where the light touched the ground, a pond of beautiful lotus flowers bloomed, filling the air with their scent. Yandan was beyond overjoyed. She grabbed his hand, pulling him towards the pond, describing the vibrant colors and the way the light danced on the water. Carried away by the moment, she confessed her love for him, her voice full of emotion. Ying Yuan, however, knew his time was running out. He didn't want to give her false hope or cause her more pain later, so he forced himself to remain calm, his face a mask of neutrality. Yandan, ever the optimist, had even tied a swing between two trees. They spent hours there, swaying gently in the breeze, talking and laughing, as if they had all the time in the world. That night, as she slept, she murmured his name. vowing again that she would save him, no matter the cost.
Ying Yuan, lying awake beside her, heard every word.
He no longer expected to live a long life. His only wish was to spend whatever time he had left with her. The next day, Yandan playfully plucked a single strand of his hair. She wanted to tie it together with one of her own, a simple prayer that they would never be separated. Her mind was racing with more desperate plans. She knew the heart of the four-leaf lotuser. Own heart could save him. But when she brought it up, Ying Yuan's reaction was swift and furious. He strictly forbade her from ever mentioning it again. He felt responsible for the deaths of so many immortal lords already. He couldn't bear the thought of another person, especially her, sacrificing themselves for him. Defeated, Yandan had to drop the idea. His nights were plagued by terrible nightmares, visions of the battles he'd fought and the friends he'd lost. Yandan's heart ached for him. She would stay by his side, holding his hand, whispering comforting words until the tremors stopped. She felt so helpless just watching from the outside. She needed to do more. She needed to go into his dreams and fight the demons alongside him. She remembered hearing that Lu Ming, the celestial record keeper, possessed a rare dream butterfly, a creature that could allow one to enter another's dreamscape.
Without a second thought, she rushed to find him.
Lu Ming explained that the butterfly was still in its cocoon and had shown no signs of emerging for a very long time. But Yandan was resolute. Her conviction was so strong that Lu Ming was moved and agreed to give her the cocoon. Her next plan was already forming. In just 3 days, it would be Ying Yuan's birthday. He told her he never celebrated it, but she was determined to make it special. As a gift, she presented him with a large, ornate coffin carved from white jade. She even cheekily lay down inside it with him, just to try it out, turning a morbid object into a moment of shared laughter. On the day of his birthday, while he was distracted, Yandan stealthily plucked one of his eyelashes. It was a mortal tradition for making wishes. As she held it, ready to make her wish for his recovery, Ying Yuan surprised her by doing the same, gently taking one of her eyelashes. They stood there for a moment, each making a silent, heartfelt wish for the other. Later, as Ying Yuan drifted off to sleep, his dreams were finally peaceful. He dreamt he was back in the heavenly realm, but it was a place of tranquility and light, not war. Yandan then proposed a new adventure. She wanted to take him to the mortal world, to travel and see its wonders. Ying Yuan, of course, eagerly agreed. The thought of experiencing a normal life with her, even for a short time, was a dream come true. But their time was cut short. The fire poison flared up again, worse than ever before. His condition became critical in an instant. Yandan poured every last bit of her spiritual power into him, fighting to keep him alive. In his delirious state, Ying Yuan's mind created a beautiful dream. He and Yandan were in the mortal world, walking through a bustling street market. They looked at each other, their eyes filled with a love that transcended realms and lifetimes. And in that dream, free from his burdens and his impending death, Ying Yuan finally confessed everything he felt for her, his voice clear and full of love. He told her how much he loved her. A confession he couldn't bring himself to make while awake. As his real body lay dying, his spirit was finally telling her the truth. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this recap, please like and subscribe for more stories.